Hello everyone, my name is Soumya Singh. I am a second year law student at NLSIU, and given that CLAT is only a handful of days away now, this video is about the strategy that you should follow in the last 2 3 days leading up to the exam. So, at the outset, I'll just say that in terms of preparation, there's not much you can do now in terms of preparation. So I personally believe that CLAT is one of those exams where it's your the effort you put in over time, however long you've been preparing. It is this effort that counts. And in the last few days, there is nothing much that you can do or you should even attempt to do. So in terms of the material, I'd say that I personally just revised current GK in the last few days and some short formula that I had for maths. So I don't think I revised anything else, and I think that you should keep your revision in this period limited. So, what is more important, I think, than what you should be doing is what you should not be doing in this period. Which is, firstly, that you should not try to pick up any new topic in this last period. So, CLAT in general, and especially this is true for your pattern, CLAT is a conceptual exam. So, there is nothing substantial that you can gain out of picking up a new topic right now and hoping to get a few marks more in the exam, because that's uh, difficult in this pattern. So much of your pattern, for example, is about reading comprehension and the skills that you develop there, or the critical reasoning questions, or the skills that you develop there. So those skills come over time, they can't come in this period. All you will serve to do by picking up new patterns is to panic and demotivate yourself, which is like the one thing that you should avoid. Secondly, I'd say that don't take new mocks in this last period, because there is no purpose to be served out of mocks now. I personally believe that the primary purpose of mocks and CLAT preparation is ultimately to show you where you were going wrong and guide you about where you need to improve. So in the last period when you actually can't improve on anything substantially, except maybe revising some GK, so there is nothing to be gained out of mocks. And in fact, if a mock goes horribly bad, because sometimes there's just something about the paper, even if you are not at fault, like some papers, for example, aren't meant for a very good score. If you have a paper like that, it might serve to demotivate you now, and that is not something that you want in the last 2 3 days, that kind of influence. Even in the revision of the existing material, you should not try to do everything, because that tendency does creep in somewhere. In the last 2 3 days we try to revise everything, and all we seem to care about sometimes is the material that we don't cover, or that we haven't been able to cover in our revisions over the past 1 month or 1.5 month. So I'd say that don't worry about those things. Like in general, I'll come to this point later, but in general, you should keep your study time limited in this period. And in that limited time, whatever you can revise, it's fine. Like this was about the preparation. But I think that what you need to focus on more in the last 2 3 days leading up to CLAT is your mindset and your stress levels. Because believe me, it plays a very important role in CLAT at least. So ours is an exam, where presence of mind matters. Where how you do in those 2 hours, your time management, your skill, everything matters. So in such an exam, like if you lose confidence or if you get too stressed and are not able to give your best in the exam, that is something that matters a lot. So, and this is something that you should work on in this period. Like cut down on your study time, I'll say. I did that and I'll recommend that. So maybe halve in it, or that's up to you, like it's a personal decision, but cut down on it and focus more on the things that relax you. So I think almost everyone has something like that which relaxes them, be it talking to friends or talking to family. So in my case, there was a park near my home, so I used to go for walks there. That is something that you can do. I also watched anime, so I'll not recommend you to start new anime series at this point, but like do things that relax you in this period. So secondly, there's something that you should keep in mind, that even though I know that you've prepared for the last a significant amount of time now, though it varies with each person, and you definitely want, the college that you are aiming for, be it NLS or the top three colleges or the top five NLUs, whatever you are aiming for. It's definitely something worth working with because NLUs do provide you with opportunities. The good ones do provide you with opportunities to do all sorts of things in your career. But at the same time, even if you don't make it to the college that you desire, it doesn't end things. It doesn't end your career. I have seen many people not make it to their desired colleges and yet do fabulously well in their, in whatever they are doing. So it doesn't end your career. So that's something that, we often tend to overlook, but which is very important. So given these things, now I'll move to what you should do a day before the exam. So a day before the exam, like personally, I didn't study much, and I don't think anyone should study at all, to be honest, because this is, the one day where you need to calm yourself down and compose yourself for the day to come and relax in general. And, this especially becomes relevant in your clat because, believe me, I personally believe that your clat has been much more emotionally taxing than ours was. So there were a lot of things except the exam itself that happened, right? So there was a pattern change and a lot of uncertainty around it. Then there came the pandemic itself. There was a 4 month postponement. So I can't even imagine what a 4 month postponement must be like because in my clat it was postponed for 15 days because of general elections, and I personally didn't like it at all. Like I wanted clat to get over as soon as possible because after preparing for 2 years you don't want it to go on for significantly longer, and I think that holds true for many of us at least. So I know that it will be like it might be very difficult. It has been a very difficult time for you, no doubt. And this is the period, the last, the end game is the period when you should focus on relaxing yourself after whatever has happened. So this is something that you should keep in mind. On the last day, you should not study like much at least, and especially on the last night, don't stay up and try to revise things. It doesn't work that way. So, as I said earlier, also, like I believe CLAT is an exam where you need that kind of presence and of mind and alertness. So, you will compromise on it definitely if you don't sleep the day before. On the CLAT day, this is very important. Don't try to do new stuff. Don't try to revise. You'll see a lot of people doing these things. You'll see a lot of people studying like hell the last 2 3 days. You'll see a lot of people studying, all sorts of things on at the exam center, but they don't actually, these things don't actually make a difference. What makes a difference is whatever you've been doing up till now and taking the paper calmly, and like focusing too much on revising also everything in the last few days, in especially on the day of the exam, will not serve you good. About your CLAT day itself, about your CLAT exam itself, I'll say that, in those 2 hours, some of you might have noticed this in your earlier CLAT attempts if you took them, but it's very difficult to focus on the paper itself because, generally there are a lot of things that might go through your mind because those are the 2 hours when, you have to, which you've been working for a significantly long time, and where you have to where you have to perform if you want to get the college you want. So it's, I know it's very difficult, but at the end of the day, it's the most difficult thing and it's the only thing that you need. So if you've prepared for a significant amount of time, like if you've prepared well, if you've been doing well in your mocks relative to your friends in general, so, and especially even if you haven't, if you attempt that paper with a calm mind and, you are able to do whatever you've been practicing, your chances increase a lot. And on the converse, like, even if you've been, say, someone who has been very high scoring in mocks and everything, but you panic in those 2 hours or are not able to up your game in those 2 hours, that's the point where, you kind of ruin your chances. And it's difficult, I know, to in that pressure to be able to cope, but it's not something very difficult. At the end of the day, you just have to focus on that paper yourself and keep in mind that this is for the best. Like, focusing on the paper is for the best, not regretting not revising GK the night before, or not regretting not knowing that one question that you should have known. It's fine. Like, everyone has some questions that they think they should know but they don't, and it's fine. Don't beat yourself up about it during the exam. Don't beat yourself up about anything during the exam. In general, CLAT will throw surprises. When it doesn't, it's a surprise. Like in CLAT 2019, it was very surprising for us that the paper was extremely easy. So there will be surprises, and you're like, in general, don't go in there with a fixed mindset that you have to attempt the sections in a particular order. There is no such order. You have to vary it as per the paper. Obviously, if the paper is favorable to what you've been doing generally, you can use the same order, but don't be close to that idea of shuffling through sections. Or even in your CLAD, I think, though it's online, there is some provision. I'm not sure about this, but there is some provision for for a paper to be seen, like for you to be able to access the PDF copy of it. If that's true, it's fine. Like, even if that's not true, it's fine, because online exams are difficult. I know it's very difficult. It becomes sometimes very difficult to focus on the screen for too long and read those passages online, because like reading long passages online is not very easy. But I think it will be fine. Like, ultimately, I'll just say that you know I know that this CLAT journey has been really difficult for everyone of you. And I think that not giving up during the preparation, giving up in the sense of not taking the exam altogether is one thing, but like giving up preparation practically, not doing anything about it, and just not preparing in the way that you can. If you manage to prepare to your best despite everything that has faced you, like, that's a very commendable thing. Believe me, it is. And it will serve you well in your CLAT if you are able to take the paper calmly and keep your stress levels under control. So that's all on my part, I think. Best of luck for the exam.